Some motorcycles were supposed to revolutionize segments, attract new riders, or prove that heritage brands could innovate. But showrooms tell a different story. Today, we're counting down 12 bikes dealers can't sell in 2026. From Harley's electric gamble, sitting unsold, to adventure tours nobody wants, and sport bikes outlasting their market. These aren't bad motorcycles. They're smart buys gathering dust because buyers want different bikes, or because pricing is wrong, or because timing was off when manufacturers bet on trends that never materialized. If you're shopping in 2026, these are the deals that savvy riders are finding when dealers get desperate and when moving inventory matters more than protecting MSRP. Number 12, Harley-Davidson Livewire. The Harley-Davidson Livewire takes the 12th position as an electric motorcycle, featuring a motor producing 105 horsepower and offering 146 miles of range that should have attracted urban riders and should have demonstrated Harley's commitment to innovation. But that instead sits in showrooms because the price is too high and because charging infrastructure remains limited, making electric motorcycles impractical for riders who want to tour or who don't have home charging or who worry about finding charging stations. When batteries deplete during rides that extend beyond the limited range, that even Harley's best efforts could not expand beyond levels that make electric bikes viable only for commuting or for short recreational rides. The electric motor delivers instant torque, creating acceleration that impresses riders during test rides. But the thrill fades when reality sets in regarding purchase prices, exceeding $29,000, when comparable gasoline-powered motorcycles cost half that amount while offering unlimited range, limited only by gas station availability that exists everywhere, while charging stations remain scarce outside urban centers, where Livewire's primary market was supposed to exist. The 105 horsepower provides adequate performance, making the Livewire genuinely quick, despite lacking the sound and the mechanical character that traditional Harley riders value, and that electric propulsion cannot replicate regardless of how well the bike performs, when specifications suggest capability that test rides confirm. The dealers offering rebates to move unsold units reflect desperation when Livewires occupy floor space and occupy financing, creating costs that dealers cannot sustain when bikes sit for months without selling, despite incentives and despite demonstrations and despite everything that dealers attempt when trying to convince riders that electric motorcycles represent the future, even when present reality suggests that the future remains distant and that current electric bikes are niche products serving limited markets rather than being viable alternatives to gasoline bikes that riders actually want to purchase and actually want to ride without range anxiety or without charging delays that make trips requiring hundreds of miles impossible, without extensive planning and without accepting limitations that gasoline bikes do not impose. Before we continue the countdown, subscribe for more smart buying advice and motorcycle industry insights that help you find the best deals when dealers get desperate and when last year's models become this year's bargains. Number 11, Ducati Street Fighter V4. The Ducati Street Fighter V4 takes the 11th position, featuring an 1103 cubic inch V4, producing 208 horsepower, creating a premium naked bike that offers superbike performance without fairings. But that carries a high MSRP limiting demand among riders who want naked bikes, but who cannot justify spending over $20,000 when Japanese naked bikes offer adequate performance for half the price. The V4 engine, derived from Ducati's Panigale superbike, provides exceptional power delivery and provides the mechanical sophistication that Ducati is known for when building exotic motorcycles that emphasize performance and design over practicality or value. The 208 horsepower is excessive for street riding and is excessive for anything other than track days or for bragging rights, creating a bike that is capable beyond what most riders can exploit and creating a bike that intimidates potential buyers who recognize that such power requires skill and requires commitment to mastering a machine that punishes mistakes and that demands respect, when throttle inputs can create acceleration that exceeds what most riders are comfortable managing on public roads, where traffic and laws prevent using the Street Fighter's full capabilities. The limited demand that dealers face reflects buyers choosing more affordable naked bikes from Yamaha or Kawasaki, or choosing adventure bikes that offer versatility that the Street Fighter lacks, when its purpose is purely performance-oriented, without providing touring capabilities or off-road capabilities that modern riders increasingly value over pure speed. The discounts available as dealers struggle to sell create opportunities for riders who want Italian exotica and who have the skills for managing 200 horsepower and who can afford the maintenance costs that Ducati ownership imposes through expensive service intervals and through premium parts pricing that makes owning a Street Fighter V 4. Significantly more expensive over time than what the purchase price alone suggests, when total cost of ownership includes maintenance and insurance and tires that wear quickly when powerful bikes are ridden enthusiastically by riders who bought Street Fighters specifically for performance that requires consuming expensive consumables. Number 10. Honda DN01. The Honda DN01 takes the 10th position as a 680 cubic inch V-twin, producing 61 horsepower with an automatic transmission, creating a motorcycle with odd styling and high pricing that kept buyers away when the DN01 was introduced, and that continues keeping buyers away when remaining new old stock units sit in dealer inventory years after production ended, leaving dealers with bikes that never sold originally and that show no signs of selling now, despite time passing and despite the bikes representing curiosities that some collectors might eventually want, but that current buyers view as strange experiments that Honda should never have attempted when the design pleases no one, and when the automatic transmission appeals to riders who would rather have scooters if they want automatic operation. The V-twin engine provides adequate power for the DN01's intended use as an urban cruiser or as a comfortable commuter, but the 61 horsepower is unremarkable, and the automatic transmission eliminates the engagement that most motorcycle riders value when clutch and shift lever provide control and provide involvement. That automatic transmission removes, creating a disconnect between rider and machine that reduces the satisfaction that motorcycling traditionally provides. The styling polarizes opinion, with some finding the futuristic design interesting, while most find it awkward or unattractive, creating a bike that looks like nothing else, but that looks like nothing else for reasons that are not positive, when distinctiveness comes from being odd rather than from being beautiful or purposeful. The dealers clearing old stock at bargain prices reflect the reality that DN01s have been sitting unsold for years, occupying space and occupying capital that could be deployed more productively if the bikes could be sold, even at losses that free up resources and free up showroom space for bikes that actually have potential to sell to customers who walk through doors looking for motorcycles. That makes sense rather than looking for experiments that Honda abandoned when the DN01 failed to find a market, despite Honda's reputation and despite Honda's marketing efforts, that could not overcome the fundamental problem that the bike appealed to no specific demographic, strongly enough to generate sales volumes that would have justified continued production. Number 9. Kawasaki Vulcan S. The Kawasaki Vulcan S takes the 9th position, featuring a 649 cubic inch parallel twin, producing 61 horsepower, creating an entry-level cruiser in a niche that is shrinking when younger riders who might have bought small cruisers are choosing adventure bikes or naked bikes, instead leaving the Vulcan S without a strong market. Despite the bike being competent, and despite the bike offering ergonomic adjustability, and despite pricing being reasonable, when compared to alternatives in the small cruiser category, that itself is disappearing. The parallel twin engine provides smooth power delivery and provides adequate performance for commuting and for relaxed riding, but the configuration lacks the V-twin character that cruiser buyers typically want when choosing cruisers, specifically for the engine note and for the torque characteristics that V-twins provide. The 61 horsepower is sufficient for the Vulcan S's intended purposes, but the output is unexciting when buyers, comparing specs, see other bikes offering more power or offering different features that seem more valuable than what the Vulcan S provides, when its primary selling point is adjustability that most riders do not need or do not value, enough to choose the Vulcan S over alternatives that offer better performance or better styling or better brand image, when Kawasaki lacks the cruiser credibility that Harley or Indian possess. The entry-level cruiser niche shrinking reflects broader market trends where new riders are not entering motorcycling through small cruisers, as previous generations did when cruisers were popular and when Harleys were aspirational, creating pathways where riders started small and upgraded to bigger cruisers as experience and budgets allowed. The dealer incentives being offered attempt to move inventory that is not turning, creating costs that dealers want to eliminate by selling Vulcan S bikes, even at reduced margins, that are preferable to continuing carrying bikes that are not attracting buyers and that are not generating the interest that would allow selling at MSRP or at prices that provide normal profitability. The affordable cruiser with dealer incentives creates value for buyers who specifically want small cruisers and who recognize that the Vulcan S offers quality and offers reliability and offers Kawasaki's reputation for building competent motorcycles. even when the specific model is not exciting and even when the category is declining, leaving bargains for the few riders who want exactly what the Vulcan S provides. Number 8. Suzuki Hayabusa. The Suzuki Hayabusa takes the 8th position, featuring a 1,340 cubic inch inline-4, producing 190 horsepower, creating an iconic superbike that dominated top speed discussions for decades. But that now sits unsold because the sport bike market is shrinking and because buyers prefer adventure bikes and touring bikes over pure performance machines that are impractical for anything other than straight-line acceleration and top speed runs that are illegal and dangerous on public roads. The inline-4 engine delivers brutal acceleration and delivers the power characteristics that made the Hayabusa legendary when it was introduced in 1999, and when it immediately became the world's fastest production motorcycle, creating a reputation that continues, even though current Hayabusas are electronically limited. And even though other bikes now match or exceed the Hayabusa's capabilities, the 190 horsepower is staggering and is more than most riders can use, effectively creating a bike that is capable at levels that exceed legal speed limits within seconds of opening the throttle, and that exceed what most roads allow, utilizing safely when such power is available constantly, but is usable rarely, making the Hayabusa's primary appeal theoretical rather than practical for riders who will never approach the bike's limits, but who enjoy owning a machine with such extreme specifications. The sport bike market shrinking reflects aging demographics and reflects insurance costs and reflects roads becoming more congested and reflects enforcement becoming stricter, creating environments where sport bikes make less sense than they did during previous decades, when roads were emptier and when enforcement was less sophisticated, and when riders were younger and more willing to accept risks that current buyers increasingly reject in favor of bikes that are more practical and more comfortable and more versatile than sport bikes provide. The comfort penalties that the Hayabusa imposes through its aerodynamic riding position and through its firm suspension, tuned for high-speed stability rather than for compliance over rough pavement, create fatigue during extended rides, making the bike unsuitable for touring, despite having fuel capacity and having engine smoothness that would otherwise make long-distance riding feasible if ergonomics were not designed purely for performance. The insurance premiums that Hayabusa owners face reflect actuarial data showing that powerful sport bikes are ridden by demographics that experience higher accident rates and experience more severe accidents when they occur, creating costs that young riders cannot afford and creating costs that older riders with clean records resent paying when premiums can approach or exceed monthly payments on the bikes themselves. The cultural shift away from sport bikes reflects broader changes in motorcycling, where the outlaw image and the speed-focused culture that dominated during the 1990s and 2000s has given way to adventure riding and to touring and to motorcycling as lifestyle rather than as competition or as rebellion against authority that sport bikes represented when riders valued being fastest over being comfortable or being practical. The track day alternative that some Hayabusa owners pursue allows using the bike's capabilities in environments where speed is legal and where risks are managed through safety equipment and through controlled conditions. But track days require investments in time and in entry fees and in safety gear, creating barriers that casual riders are unwilling to overcome when buying a Hayabusa for street use, where its capabilities will never be fully utilized. The nostalgia factor that keeps some buyers interested in the Hayabusa reflects the bike's legendary status and reflects memories of when owning the world's fastest motorcycle meant something culturally and meant something personally to riders who valued speed supremacy, even when that supremacy had no practical application beyond bragging rights and beyond the satisfaction of owning a machine that represented the pinnacle of motorcycle performance during its era. The discounts that make Hayabusas attractive smart buys bring prices down from the mid-teens to the low teens or below, creating value propositions where the bike's capabilities and the bike's iconic status justify costs that MSRP pricing did not support when buyers compared Hayabusas to adventure bikes or touring bikes, offering more versatility and more comfort for similar or lower money, making the Hayabusa a harder sell until dealer desperation creates pricing that finally makes the legendary sport bike compelling to buyers who want performance icons at bargain prices. The discounted rates that dealers offer on remaining Hayabusas create opportunities for riders who want iconic superbikes and who are willing to accept the limitations and the impracticality in exchange for owning a piece of motorcycle history and for experiencing acceleration that few other vehicles can match. When the Hayabusa launches and when power overwhelms traction briefly before electronics intervene, preventing wheelies or preventing slides that uncontrolled power would create if riders lacked the skills or lacked the electronic aids that modern Hayabusas include, making the bikes more manageable than earlier generations that offered similar power without the safety nets that current technology provides. Number 7. Suzuki Boulevard M109R. The Suzuki Boulevard M109R takes the 7th position, featuring a 1,783 cubic inch V-twin, producing 125 horsepower, creating a heavy muscle cruiser with declining demand as cruiser markets contract and as buyers who want cruisers increasingly choose Harleys or Indians over Japanese alternatives that lack the heritage and lack the brand cachet that American cruisers provide. The V-twin engine is massive and provides torque that impresses and provides the low-end grunt that cruiser riders value. But the Boulevard lacks the character and lacks the sound that Harley V-twins deliver, making the Suzuki mechanically competent but emotionally unsatisfying for riders who want cruisers specifically for the experience and for the identity that Japanese bikes cannot provide, regardless of specifications. The 125 horsepower and the massive displacement create a bike that accelerates impressively for something weighing over 700 pounds. But the weight is a liability when maneuvering at low speeds, and the weight is a liability when stopping requires managing momentum that takes distance and requires brake force that fully loaded cruisers demand. The declining demand for muscle cruisers reflects market trends away from heavyweight bikes, and reflects aging demographics, and reflects the reality that younger riders are not replacing older riders who bought muscle cruisers during the 2000s when such bikes were popular and when manufacturers, including Suzuki, invested in developing models like the M109R that sold well initially, but that now sit unsold when markets have moved on, and when the bikes that were fashionable 2 decades ago no longer attract buyers in sufficient numbers to clear inventory. The clearance deals that dealers offer on M109Rs create value for riders who want massive displacement and who want distinctive styling and who do not care about brand heritage, when Suzuki's engineering and Suzuki's reliability create bikes that perform well and that last long, even if they lack the emotional appeal that Harleys provide to riders who value brand identity and cultural associations over pure mechanical competence that the M109R delivers, without delivering the intangibles that make motorcycle purchases emotional rather than rational decisions based on specifications and value alone. Number 6. BMW K1600B. The BMW K1600B takes the 6th position as a 1,649 cubic inch inline-six, producing 160 horsepower, creating a luxury touring bagger that is extremely expensive, and that has a limited buyer base among riders who want the comfort and the features that the K1600B provides, but who balk at prices exceeding $25,000 when Harley baggers cost less, and when Indian baggers cost less, and when the BMW lacks the American bagger identity that many touring riders value more than they value the inline-six engine's smoothness, or the BMW's superior handling and superior technology that come at premium prices justified only for buyers who prioritize engineering over heritage. The inline-six engine is BMW's masterpiece, providing silky smooth power delivery and providing the refinement that inline-sixes are known for, when 6 cylinders firing in sequence create balance and create smoothness that V-twins cannot match, regardless of how well V-twins are engineered, or how well V-twins are balanced through counterbalancers and through other measures, attempting to eliminate vibration that inline-sixes avoid through fundamental architecture advantages. The 160 horsepower is more than adequate for touring and is more than adequate for two-up riding with passenger and luggage, when the K1600B accelerates effortlessly, and maintains highway speeds without strain and without the engine working hard, creating an experience that is refined and that is comfortable for covering long distances that touring riders accumulate when crossing continents or when participating in rallies that reward comfort and reliability over raw performance. The luxury touring bike at reduced prices creates opportunities for riders who want the best engineering and who want the features that BMW includes as standard equipment when the K1600B offers everything that serious touring requires, including cruise control, heated grips, electronic suspension adjustment, multiple riding modes, and comprehensive luggage systems that are integrated rather than being add-ons that aftermarket suppliers provide for bikes that were not designed initially for touring, but that owners attempt converting through accessories that never integrate as seamlessly as factory systems achieve when manufacturers design bikes specifically for touring purposes. Number 5, Indian Scout Bobber. The Indian Scout Bobber takes the 5th position, featuring an 1133 cubic inch V-twin, producing 100 horsepower, creating a bike with niche styling that appeals to some riders, but that creates oversupply in dealerships when production volumes exceeded demand, leaving dealers with inventory that moves slowly. Despite the Scout Bobber being a quality motorcycle that offers good performance and offers Indian's reputation for building competent cruisers that compete effectively against Harleys in segments where American heritage matters and where V-twin character matters more than specifications or technology. The V-twin engine provides strong torque and provides the character that cruiser buyers want when the Scout Bobber delivers acceleration that is adequate for spirited riding and delivers the sound that V-twins produce when exhausts are tuned for tone rather than just for meeting noise regulations. The 100 horsepower is respectable for a mid-size cruiser and is sufficient for making the Scout Bobber feel quick when compared to larger, heavier cruisers that produce more power but that weigh substantially more, creating power-to-weight ratios that favor the lighter Scout Bobber when acceleration matters more than absolute horsepower numbers. That specifications list, but that real-world riding does not always translate into superior performance when weight penalties offset power advantages. The dealers discounting heavily to move stock reflect the reality that Scout Bobbers are not selling at rates that justify current inventory levels, creating pressure to reduce prices and creating opportunities for buyers who want mid-size cruisers and who appreciate bobber styling that eliminates unnecessary components and that emphasizes minimalism, creating bikes that are lighter and that are more agile than full-dress cruisers. Provide when touring features add weight and add complexity that bobber buyers specifically do not want when choosing stripped-down motorcycles, emphasizing essentials over comfort or convenience. Number 4, Indian Scout 60. The Indian Scout 60 takes the 4th position featuring a 999 cubic inch liquid-cooled V-twin, producing 78 horsepower, creating an entry-level Indian that is overshadowed by larger Indian cruisers, and by Harley competition leaving the Scout 60 without a clear market, when buyers who want Indians typically want the larger Scout, or want the Chief, or want other models that offer more power and offer more presence than the Scout 60 provides, despite the bike being competent, and despite the bike being the most affordable way to own an Indian motorcycle when budget constraints prevent purchasing larger, more expensive models. The liquid-cooled V-twin provides reliable power and provides modern engineering that air-cooled engines cannot match when cooling systems maintain optimal temperatures and when consistent temperatures allow engines running at higher compression and allow engines producing more power per cubic inch than air-cooled designs achieve. The 78 horsepower is adequate for an entry-level cruiser, but the output is modest when compared to the standard Scout producing 100 horsepower from slightly larger displacement, creating a performance gap that makes the Scout 60 feel like a compromise rather than feeling like a complete motorcycle that stands on its own merits, independent of comparisons to the more capable Scout that costs only slightly more, creating a pricing problem where the Scout 60 does not save enough money to justify accepting reduced performance. The affordable cruiser with rebates creates value for buyers who want Indian motorcycles and who accept the Scout 60's limitations in exchange for owning a bike with Indian's heritage and with Indian's styling and with the satisfaction of riding an American motorcycle rather than riding a Japanese cruiser that might offer better specifications, but that lacks the cultural associations and lacks the brand identity that American manufacturers provide to riders who value those intangibles enough to accept compromises in performance or features that Japanese bikes deliver more completely at similar or lower prices. Number 3. Harley-Davidson Street 750. The Harley-Davidson Street 750 takes the third position, featuring a 749 cubic inch liquid-cooled V-twin, producing 47 horsepower, creating an entry-level Harley that failed to attract younger riders despite being designed specifically for that purpose, and despite being priced lower than traditional Harleys when the Street 750 was supposed to bring new riders into the Harley family, but instead sits in showrooms, because the bike lacks the character that Harley buyers want, and because younger riders who might accept the compromises are choosing other brands or are choosing other types of motorcycles over cruisers that do not appeal to demographics that Harley desperately needs attracting. The liquid-cooled V-twin provides reliability and provides modern engineering, but the engine lacks the distinctive sound and lacks the character that air-cooled Harley V-twins deliver, making the Street 750 feel like a Japanese bike with a Harley badge, rather than feeling like an authentic Harley that delivers the experience that the brand is supposed to provide. The 47 horsepower is weak even for an entry-level bike, creating performance that is adequate for commuting, but that is uninspiring for riders who want motorcycles that feel powerful or that feel exciting. When the Street 750 feels like basic transportation rather than feeling like a motorcycle that connects riders to Harley's heritage or to the freedom and rebellion that Harley marketing emphasizes, even when products do not deliver those intangibles that marketing promises. The deep discounts as dealers clear inventory create opportunities for buyers who want the cheapest possible Harley and who accept that the Street 750 is not a real Harley in the traditional sense, but is instead a compromise that Harley built, attempting to compete in entry-level markets where Japanese bikes dominate and where Harley has no credibility and no history of success. When previous attempts at building small Harleys, including the Sportster, have never attracted the younger riders that Harley needs if the company is to survive beyond the current generation of aging baby boomers, who are the core customers keeping Harley alive currently. Number 2. Harley-Davidson Pan America 1250. The Harley-Davidson Pan America 1250 takes the second position, featuring a 1250 cubic inch Revolution Max engine, producing 150 horsepower, creating Harley's first adventure bike that is heavy and expensive compared to the BMW GS and the KTM Adventure, creating a bike that should have expanded Harley into new markets, but that instead sits unsold because adventure bike buyers are loyal to established brands and because the Pan America carries a weight penalty and carries a price premium that buyers are unwilling to accept when BMWs and KTMs offer better performance and offer better off-road capability and offer reputations built through decades of adventure bike development that Harley cannot match with its first attempt, regardless of how competent the Pan America is when judged objectively. The Revolution Max engine is Harley's best power plant, producing strong horsepower and producing the performance that adventure bikes require when loaded with gear and when carrying passengers and when climbing mountain passes or when accelerating onto highways from off-road trails. The 150 horsepower is competitive with what BMW and KTM offer, but the Pan America weighs more, negating power advantages and creating a bike that feels heavier and that feels less agile off-road than competitors that were designed specifically for adventure riding, rather than being designed by a manufacturer known for heavyweight cruisers attempting to build something completely different from everything Harley has ever produced. The adventure bike bargain with dealer incentives creates value for riders who want American adventure bikes and who want to support Harley and who are willing to accept that the Pan America is not the best adventure bike, but is a competent adventure bike that offers Harley's warranty and offers Harley's dealer network and offers the satisfaction of riding something different from the BMWs and KTMs that dominate adventure bike parking areas at motorcycle rallies and at adventure riding events, where Pan Americas remain rare because most buyers are choosing established brands over Harley's newcomer, despite incentives and despite the Pan America being genuinely capable when given chances that most buyers are not willing to provide. Number 1. Harley-Davidson Nightster. The Harley-Davidson Nightster takes the top position featuring a 975 cubic inch Revolution Max V-twin producing 90 horsepower, creating a bike that cruiser buyers reject because they prefer larger Harleys, and that younger riders reject because they prefer cheaper alternatives, leaving the Nightster without a market, despite being a competent motorcycle that offers adequate performance and offers modern styling and offers the Revolution Max engine that is Harley's best engineering in decades, but that cannot overcome the fundamental problem that no one wants mid-size Harleys when buyers who want Harleys want big twins, and when buyers who want mid-size bikes do not want to pay Harley prices for bikes that lack the character and lack the presence that make Harleys desirable to the buyers who keep the company alive. The Revolution Max V-twin produces smooth power and produces the performance that modern engines deliver when liquid cooling and when sophisticated engineering create outputs that air-cooled pushrod engines cannot match. But the smoothness and the modernity are liabilities when Harley buyers specifically want the roughness and want the character that traditional Harley engines provide through their agricultural mechanical feel and through their distinctive sound that the Revolution Max cannot replicate, regardless of exhaust tuning or regardless of marketing claims, suggesting that the Nightster delivers authentic Harley experience. The 90 horsepower is adequate, but the output is neither impressive enough to attract performance-oriented riders, nor is the output delivered in ways that satisfy traditional Harley buyers who want torque curves that favor low-end grunt over high RPM power that the Revolution Max emphasizes. The dealers slashing prices due to weak demand create the best bargains in Harley's current lineup when Nightsters can be purchased for thousands below MSRP, creating value for buyers who want modern Harleys and who do not care about traditional Harley character, and who recognize that the Nightster offers better performance and better reliability than older Harleys provided when air-cooled engines and when older technology created bikes that were characterful, but that were also problematic in ways that modern engineering has solved, even if solving those problems eliminated what made Harleys distinctive and eliminated what made Harleys appealing to the buyers who actually purchase Harleys, rather than appealing to the buyers who Harley wishes would purchase Harleys, but who consistently choose other brands when shopping for motorcycles. These 12 bikes dealers can't sell represent opportunities for smart buyers in 2026 when moving past MSRP and when negotiating becomes possible because dealers are desperate to clear inventory that is not moving at prices that manufacturers suggest, but that markets reject. From the Nightster, that nobody wants to, the Livewire, that is too expensive and too limited, and from adventure bikes that are too heavy to sport bikes that are too extreme. These are machines that offer value when discounts bring prices down to levels where capabilities and features justify costs that original pricing did not support. Which of these dealer nightmares would you buy at the right price? Let us know in the comments, and if finding bargains and understanding why some bikes fail interests you, subscribe for more truth about the motorcycle industry and about the deals that savvy riders discover when manufacturers miscalculate and when dealers pay the price through inventory that sits while discounts grow trying to find the price points where bikes finally move.